After the death of Jesus, the apostles had to take the role as the leaders of the church. As the 12 apostles gathered more and more disciples, it became hard to appreciate every single disciple for their individual needs and/or requests, which could be money, prayers, and even food. The Hellenists, which are Greek-speaking Jews, had a problem with the apostles because they were neglecting the widows in the town, even though, as you can tell, it would be hard for the 12 apostles to keep track of the thousands of disciples. To fix this conflict, the apostles asked the disciples to collectively gather 7 men to assist them in the needs of thousands of disciples in the caring of the widows. The criteria for these men is that they had to be full of spirit and wisdom. They had to have good reputation, and they had to devote themselves to prayer and to spread the word of God. The 7 men that were chosen were Philip, Prochorus, Nicanor, Timon, Parmenas, Nicholas, and Stephen. After the men were chosen, they were brought to the apostles, which prayed and laid hands on them. The laying of hands was a Jewish custom in which someone like an apostle would put their hands on the subject, being a disciple, where they would gain the divine blessing and power to perform a designated task. As Stephen was working wonders among the people of Jerusalem, certain members out of the Synagogue of Freedom, the Cyrenians, the Alexandrians, and people from Asia all debated with Stephen. When all the debaters could not argue their point to Stephen, they became angry and wanted vengeance. The debaters asked certain people to accuse Stephen of speaking blasphemy towards Moses and God, which stirred up the people, elders, and the scribes. Stephen was brought to the Sanhedrin because of his so-called blasphemy, where multiple false witnesses testified against him. As false witnesses were making accusations against Stephen, the Sanhedrin just watched him sit there with the face of an angel, taking it all in. When Acts 6 was referencing Stephen having a face of an angel, what it really means is that Stephen was full of confidence and had no fear when all those accusations were made against him, because he knew God was with him and would defend him at all times. Acts 6 shows us the struggle of the early church and how the apostles could not keep up with the growing disciples. The apostles' solution to the rising numbers of people accepting the word of God were the 7 men, which were instilled to support the neglected widows. Acts 6 is also significant because it is represented as the prelude to the first ever martyr in all of church history, which was Stephen. Thank you guys for watching my video on Acts 6. Hopefully this was enjoyable and informative. Always stay holy.